God damn, Jimmy, this some serious gourmet shit. Me and Vincent would have been satisfied with some freeze-dried Taster's Choice, right? And he springs this serious gourmet shit on us.
Here at New York Giants Straight Talk, we always bring out the gourmet stuff. This is Tim, of course, talking New York Football Giants. Want to talk about Xavier McKinney's comments. Want to talk about, is he really going after the offense and maybe something else in the Giant building that we don't know about? We're going to explore that in a moment. We're also going to explore the toxicity of Giant Twitter and social media in general, because I think we need to talk about, like, this is going to be a 2-part series in reference to talking about that. But let's talk about Xavier McKinney. Giants had a little bit of a press day today. Xavier McKinney, Wan'Dale Robinson, and a few others talked to the press. And Xavier was asked a question, and I love it because this is the snippet that everyone's playing. This is the snippet that everyone's talking about. But let's listen to it. Let's listen to this question at first, and let's listen to his answer right now. Hold on.
Will be, in terms of those fundamentals, as far as being able to make those tackles and not miss them.
I mean, tackling, obviously we got to tackle, but that's not why that's not why we've lost 2 games. And so, obviously we got to be better with it, but that's not the reason to, that's not the reason to us having, lost 2 games, in my opinion. But obviously the fundamentals matter, and we got to be a lot better in that aspect, and which we will. But, it's not the reason, it's not the reason why the games are going how they're going. So it's a lot of other different things that we got to correct and be better with. But, and like I said, fundamentals always matter, and they're always going to matter, and we'll be better with it. But, I'm not going to stress too much over that, because I know that we're a good tackling team. Obviously, we're just going through a little hiccup, but like I said, we'll correct it, and we'll keep moving forward, but not going to stress over it, though.
So 3 times in that 1-minute clip, he referenced the fact that this is not the reason why we lost the games. The tackling is not. Now, the Giants have missed something like 9,468 tackles in the last 3 games. And when you can't get off a third down, when you can't get off the field on third down because you are making these misses, when you can't stop a screen, and poor tackling is a huge part of some of these issues the Giants are having. But I was laughing because I was trying to figure out if I'm a reporter and I'm in the press, of course, because if you are a reporter, you wouldn't be in the press. But when you ask that question, wouldn't you follow up immediately and be like, yo, okay, what do you mean by that? Now, maybe the reporter only had one question to ask. That's possible as well. But wouldn't you, as a secondary reporter, the next person asking a question, wouldn't you immediately go, hey, what do you mean by that? And I think that's just an important question. Now, the next question was just to play off of what you just said. In your mind, why have you lost 2 games? Now, that's a great question. Now, his answer was, didn't start fast, defensively at least. I don't think we started fast. I think that we've gotten where we don't have any turnovers. I think those are the 2 big keys in my mind. Right now, we are trying to figure out a way where we can be able to force these turnovers. For me as an individual, that's something that I'm constantly trying to figure out, is how to be able to force turnovers, get the ball back to our offense. I think that's 2 of the reasons. Even the games that we won, we still don't have any turnovers. So really, in those 3 games that we played, I think that's the biggest thing for me and our defense. So everyone on Twitter is going after the first part of the clip, but nobody's playing the next question. Or I shouldn't say no one. The few people are playing the next question. They're all going after, oh well, he's attacking the team. He's going after Daniel Jones and the offense. This is what kind of sickens me a little bit about Giants Twitter, Giants social media, certain content creators, because they're trying to cause controversy for Xavier McKinney for something that he was talking about the defense the entire time, that the defense didn't start fast. The defense hasn't caused turnovers. And these are the reasons why we haven't started off fast and we haven't turned the ball over in 3 games. And he says, and I think that's the biggest thing for me and the defense. But if you go on social media and look at it, it's like Xavier McKinney's blasting Daniel Jones. He's blasting the offense. He's saying you guys can't get off the motherfucking field, which is why we are having so many problems. It's like there's a certain segment that wants to just cause controversy. It's like there's a certain segment that revels in being able to have that gotcha moment on Twitter. And I honestly, if you want me to be perfectly honest about it, I think a lot of people need to get a life. Because Twitter is not a life. Instagram is not a life. Content creation for anything is not a life, unless you're Mr. Beast, who makes like $9 bazillion. But to sit there and think you got that gotcha moment, that thing, and this is one of the things I've really gotten off of YouTube. Like 2 years ago, I stopped watching any Giant videos except some clips that people send me. And I started getting off Twitter recently, but then I got back on because I love posting stuff on Twitter. And I love posting stuff that I know is going to set people off. And I know it's going to set them off. And I do it intentionally so I can watch the reaction. And I love it because I posted something and R0B said, "Hey, this guy's really going off on you." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "That's fine." I said, "That was actually the whole idea and the whole purpose." It just kind of reinforces my point that some people are so asphyxiated on social media and Giants Twitter and having that gotcha moment to go after other people and other fans that it's kind of sickening now. And it's kind of reached the point of toxicity, this just being toxic. And someone asked me the other day, would I let any of my young kids go on Twitter or social media? And I said, no, I don't. I mean, I let them watch YouTube. They watch, Mr. Beast, Ryan Trahan, Let's Game It Out, shit like that. But I always monitor what they're watching. But in this day and age, you have so many people that their lives are so ingrained with social media, and they think they're being these monumentally astute fans of the game and of the Giants by posting some of this stuff. But half the time, I've said it before, a lot of times these people don't put stuff into context. And context is the most important thing at times. That if you are playing a clip of Xavier McKinney saying something, but do not follow up with the next question and the next answer to the question, and you are trying to stir controversy because you want to get the likes, the clicks, the bleeps, and the boops, you got to go out and get a girlfriend. There are plenty of dating sites and apps. I think I can't remember. I don't know which one is where you swipe your fingers. Because you're not creating a fan base that A, is knowledgeable, and B, that you're together as a cohesive unit. I always talk about the 83 quarterback controversy between Phil Simms and Scott Bruner. And I have the articles from, and I'm actually going to show them, I think, on Wednesday's video, that basically talk about Phil Simms. And long story short, Scott Bruner came in for an injured Simms, led the Giants to the playoffs, had their first playoff in decades, winning years, and then they lost in San Francisco. And there was a quarterback controversy because Bruner was like a 12th round pick out of Delaware. Simms was, of course, a first rounder. And there was this huge, because Simms wanted a trade during the 83 season. There was it was just a huge controversy. And I've talked about the fact that, this was in the 82 season. It'd be the 81 season. I'm sorry. It'd be the 81 season. 82 season was the strike shortened season. 83 was 3-12-1. So what happened was Simms asked to be traded. He didn't get traded. You had 2 camps going into 83. And that would be the 3-12-1 season. And you had the Bruner camp and you had the Simms camp. Now, at the end of the day, you had your guy that you were rooting for. You knew who you wanted to be starting quarterback. And there was controversy on the radio and on the television, of course, because they didn't have social media. But at the end of the day, when you went and headed over to the Meadowlands, it didn't matter who was under center. Everyone turned into and I've talked about this before, you turned into a giant fan. And you rooted for your guy. Now, of course, if your guy played poorly, you then, you didn't want to say anything. But then if you were the opposite, if your guy wasn't playing and the other guy played poorly, of course, you turn around and you're going to be like, oh, you should have brought my guy in. But it was all in good fun. But at the end of the day, we all rooted for a giant win. Now, we only got 3 wins that year and 1 tie. But you put everything aside for Sunday. And you were never beyond toxic in reference to saying, okay, your guy is this because of this, and your guy is this because of this. And I loved it because I remember so many tailgates with my father and his friends and everything else. Because I was a kid back then still. And you just kind of sat there and you watched it all. And yeah, there was good nature ribbing, but it was all in good fun. Now you have the keyboard warriors who use anonymity behind the social media to say these things, and then they just kind of just disappear, or they just keep saying things that are even stupider. And I've said this before, the problem with the young fan base now today is a lot of times they get their information from social media, from Twitter, from YouTube, from everything else. And I think if you're being disingenuous when you're actually posting things, and I think if you are only telling the one side of a story, and you're not telling both, you're not looking at both sides of a coin, you're just not giving the right information and allowing people to learn from your expertise. Now, the problem is more and more this last 6 months, I mean, Twitter has just become, like I said, giant Twitter has become toxic. I actually have a friend that's a Cowboys fan. And I was talking to him the other day, and he sometimes comes on to the streams and, leaves comments and watches. And he was like, dude, you guys are rough. And he's like, we make fun of you, giant fans in general, because of the fact that you can't figure out how to root for your own team. That Daniel Jones is such a polarizing figure that he's dividing the fan base, and Daniel Jones isn't doing it personally. It's just, like I've said this before, you have a segment of fans that have never known anything but Eli Manning. And at the end of the day, because I've known nothing but the success of Eli Manning, their next quarterback is Daniel Jones. They are not aware of the fact that you do not hit on your quarterback all the time. You sometimes go through the quarterback desert before you find that next Messiah. And it's okay to swing and a miss. But they are so ingrained with the fact that they had Eli for X amount of years, and they just automatically go by the assumption that Daniel Jones is going to be the next greatest thing since sliced bread. And then when you question the reality, they go on these Twitter rampages and attack anything that moves. But like I said, they do it anonymously. I can't even talk tonight. But they do it under the cloak of darkness, we'll say. So because of the fact that they know their true identities are not going to be revealed. And it's just getting worse and worse by the moment. So I've made a pledge. I'm just going to stay the fuck off Twitter. And that's gonna be a hard one. That's gonna be a hard one.
That's what she said.
But I think, for my own sanity, because you see these things and you're just like, this is just beyond stupid. And then people are just looking for validation from former players and everything else. Like that is their badge of honor. That is their badge of courage. To me, it's more of a scarlet letter. Grow up, become part of society, get a life. Root for your team, and root for your team to win, and root for it as a cohesive fan base, not a bunch of people just attacking each other. We're going to get more in depth into that tomorrow, but you know what to do. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell. You want to know why? That'd be awesome.